Attention! Please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Sound interesting. What's that,
Hellboy
Tom?
thicker than a Snickers. I'm just saying.
Oh
Anyway.
my God.
What does that even mean?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need, but you deserve. And
Tom's
we're
making
all
fart noises
levels-
over the intros. Good.
Enjoy.
Well, all levels of nerd are welcome.
Yeah.
Even if you make fart noises.
Yeah,
Yeah.
over the important bits, like the intro.
Yeah.
Today we realize our destiny and discuss Anung Unrama's last foray into the BPRD, no matter how low the Rotten Tomato score is. I am talking about Hellboy 2019.
Yes.
That is our subject
The
for
reboot.
Yes.
this episode. But before that, let's introduce the hosts.
I am Tom.
Ollie.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Corey.
And I am Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon. Our patrons allow us to continue to grow like we are now. New camera, new microphones, all sorts of good stuff. And if you are new to Patreon, it is essentially a membership service that you can support your favorite curators for as low as $1
and
a month.
creators, too.
Curators and creators.
Yeah. Curated
Curators of-
creators.
Yeah.
Yes. And you get stuff like bonus episodes, Discord community, all that good stuff. But check it out, nerdon.io/Patreon.
Yeah. With that, now that the housekeeping's done, that brings us to our first segment of the show. Since this is a completed film, it's something we can rate. That means we get to guess that grub. He's got horns and he gets Excalibur. Anyway, at the end of this episode, we will rate Hellboy on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Whoever amongst us is the lowest in the group is the Grump of the Week. You can play along at home, send us in your ratings, who you thought was going to be the
Yes.
Grump of the Week. But to get it started, since I have to explain it, I'll go first. I think it's going to be Ali.
Okay.
Yeah, no offense.
I think it's going to be Corey.
Oh, okay.
I too think it shall be Corey.
All right, that's 2. Ali?
For Ollie Oxenfree. Ollie Demon Boy Free.
Should I? I'm going to go Josh.
Josh.
Wow. Okay.
All
And
right.
Tom?
All right.
I think it's going to be Ollie.
Okay.
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 So that's
okay.
2 on Ali, 1 on Corey, 1 on Josh. Nope.
Interesting.
I did that wrong. 2 on Corey, 1 on Josh.
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
All
2
right.
on Ollie, 2 on Corey,
1 on Josh. Yeah,
So-
that's exactly it.
Let's spoil that.
Let's go right into
that's out of the
our
way.
initial reactions.
I mean, one thing, spoilers on this movie.
yeah, of course.
So-
Of course.
Yeah,
All
please,
the spoilery
please.
spoilers.
Yes.
If you haven't seen this movie yet, pause it and
Go
wait
out.
for it to be rented. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
go see it in
but-
the
go
theaters.
see it.
Go see it. Come
Spoilers
back,
for
press
Guess
play.
That Grump.
And also first impressions for those who are across the pond. So I'll go first with Hellboy. Specifically, I really got into the Hellboy genre, Dark Horse specifically, because of the Guillermo Del Toro films. And I fell in love with it. I couldn't wait to watch the next one. I specifically, when I was a child, you know when you get invited to like your parents' friends' parties and you
Yeah.
just don't know anybody? They put me in a room and then they had this. The Hellboy's director's cut.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I watched the movie, and then I was like, well, they're still partying. I have nothing to do. So I watched all the extra features.
Nice.
Wow.
And that was how I spent one of my like nights I will never forget.
Yeah.
And I
Nice.
started watching like the animated films, and I bought this comic book that Corey has on the table for us. Because David Barry, who is shout out from Capus Crusaders, check out their
Shout out.
podcast.
Shout out.
Is super into Hellboy and is telling me a lot about it. So going into this new film, you know, like hearing how, you know, Ron Perlman and Guillermo Del Toro and the gang is not going to be part of it, and how Mike Mignola was really going to be a part of the production of this, I was like, okay, let's see how this works, because, you know, it's really exciting to hear how the comic book creators are more involved in the process nowadays. You know, look at Rowling and the Wizarding World, right?
Yeah.
And going into it, I was kind of like, okay, this is a lot more punchy. It's a lot more frenetic. It's going for a completely different vibe. It's a little darker.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So leaving the film, I was walking away with the idea or feeling of like Kick-Ass, as well as like Kingsman, anything that's Mark
Kinda
Millar,
punchy.
Yeah.
Matthew Vaughn directed.
Yeah.
Feel.
They were not messing around.
Yeah, I know when the pictures for David Harbour came out, everyone was like super excited, and I was too because I really like him. And also, shout out, he's a motherfucking Sigma Phi Epsilon fraternity alum.
Oh,
shout out to my
dang.
fraternity.
Wow.
And so I was
David
like,
Harbour is? Brother Harbour?
yeah, brother Harbour,
Brother David?
yeah. So I was like, I gotta support my boy. even though he had like these really weird frosted tips. Oh, anyways,
We all did at one point.
No, well, I guess I do now. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I left walking away. I was like, it's a fast-paced film, and I really wish I would have seen more. There's a lot of great elements that I liked in the film, but ultimately I think that due to a lot of production stuff as well as writing and editing, it yields the score that it has. But I just don't believe that anything should go lower than like Twilight, and I think that's really kind of weird that it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, congratulations, you have a lower Rotten Tomato score than Batman vs Superman. That's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should.
I don't. I'll
Has
go
a lower
I'll-
score than Justice League even.
No, Justice League is higher than BVS.
Really?
Justice League
That's
was
dumb.
Justice League was
That's dumb.
was
Sorry.
Wow.
critically
It is.
seen better than BVS.
That's a mistake. Go ahead.
My goodness.
Okay. I'll
There's
go
gonna
next.
be some strong opinions today, I feel.
Yeah, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm incredibly nervous for this episode.
Why?
I didn't hate it as much as the internet is.
Yeah.
And how I can feel in this room that there's some hate towards this movie.
No hate from me, actually.
So I'm really nervous because I'm going to say something that's different, because even one of our patrons, like the day it came out, said something that was pretty negative towards this movie. And I gotta say, I walked out of it and going, wow, I actually kind of liked it. There were aspects of it that I didn't appreciate, and we'll go into that later.
part where
but-
they're burning children alive. Yeah.
Yeah. It was when this was, because I love Guillermo Del Toro. Anything that man touches, I'm okay
I
with.
don't think there's a lot of people that don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Also, just as a person, he's the
Yeah.
sweetest person.
yeah. So I hold Hellboy, his versions at a pretty sacred place in my heart. I mean, we watched it again just to watch it before this movie too, not as like which one's better, but just as like a comparison.
Yeah.
And
They're factors, not
they're different.
not a litmus. to
Yeah,
it.
and so for me going into this, it was the expectations that I had to be like, okay, I know that Guillermo Del Toro wanted another one. I get that. I was
Ron
very
Perlman.
Yeah, Ron Perlman really wanted it.
I was
There was
very,
some unfortunate behind the scenes stuff that went down.
I was very happy to hear that Mike Mignola was going to be a part of it, because again, Del Toro did not create Hellboy.
No.
And so there's a part of me that goes, so I can't really hold those in place. I see it as a run. It's a run of Hellboy. And so I was like, damn. I walked away. There were some parts where I was like, I really like that. I really didn't like that, or something like that. But I was,
For sure.
I thought that I was not going to. I really did. Unfortunately, I thought that I was not going to like it, but I walked away. Everybody
Surprised.
knows how I have the smallest bladder known to man.
Jesus, I know. It's the
I
worst.
did not
Go.
go during
held
this
it?
movie. Yeah.
Proud of you.
Because I was like, I wanted to see what was going to
happens.
happen next.
Yeah.
Because, so.
I would almost say this is kind of like seeing Nolan wanting to do a fourth Batman movie, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden Frank Miller's like, I'm going to do it, and then it's just different than Nolan's film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's different.
Different.
It's and the thing is, like, it's from Mike Mignola,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of like, do I not like the creator? It's like,
Yeah.
no, this is his creation. Anyone else?
Yeah, sure. I went in with a high expectation, actually. The trailers didn't sell me on it completely, but there was an R-rated Red Band trailer that came out about 2 weeks prior that I was like, this could be a lot of fun. This looks like a fun ride.
Prior to the movie's release. Oh, that's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
I didn't see it.
I'll send it to you after.
Just way more blood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just shows a
Oh.
lot of the R-rating stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan, like Tom, of the Del Toro movies. Abe Sapien's my boy all day. Shout out to Doug Jones.
Yep.
That's why he's not here.
Yeah. But I'm a big fan of David Harbour as well. I'm a huge fan of Stranger Things. So him being cast, I think was great. He has a lot of charisma. Milla Jovovich stole the show for me. Like,
Lilu
first of all, I don't think she's aged in 20 years.
I know, right?
No, she did literally make a deal with the devil.
Oh, yeah, okay,
So
perfect.
That's
That makes a lot of sense.
This is appropriate.
I honestly think for me, she was the most interesting part of the entire film. I would have loved to see a film
With
just
Nimoy?
on the Blood Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I left with some baggage. I liked a lot of it. I think a lot of people left saying it felt like a lot of vignettes, and I get that. I still see the storyline. A lot of the vignettes were really cool. But I do wish they had focused a little more on the Arthurian side of things and maybe exploring
was
that lore
fun.
a little more. But all in all, I mean, it was fun.
Plus, Merlin was not chill.
It was not chill.
No,
No, he was
chill.
not.
no chill at all.
Kaylin or Ollie?
Yeah, I mean, I went in, I had zero, I really had no expectations. I kind of disliked the trailer, like what I saw from it. I didn't really,
The trailer
none of
was
the jokes
tonally
landed.
off.
It was totally off. But unfortunately to me, like I didn't even know about the Rotten Tomato score going into it. I was like, I'm just gonna go in blind. Let's just see what happens. And the way I felt about the trailer pretty much reflected with how I felt about the movie, which I found the tone to be all over the place.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire thing. I was taken out of the movie a few times
Not the qualms, just the
by
initial reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I didn't have I didn't really enjoy my time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kaylin?
I will say real quick, just a slight thing with the Rotten Tomatoes thing. On Twitter, they had a fucking ad going on, and it's like shows like a counter of like the Rotten Tomatoes score, and went like up to 90, then all the way down to fucking 9. I was like, this is not a
Nice.
good like
not nice.
commercial.
Measure.
Like, why would you do this?
No, Rotten Tomatoes did it. They
yeah,
didn't.
and I'm like, why would you do this? Like, I don't know. That just irritated me. I was like,
Dicks. Being
why?
Wait. They did a commercial?
It was
did,
an ad,
it was-
Facebook ad.
It was like a video that literally shows like the flame, dun 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 dun, Hellboy, and it's like the number goes up
to
and then
90
goes all the
and
way
then
down
drops
to
down to 9. It's at 15%.
Which I'm just like, that's
Why would they?
I don't know. Which I was like, that's ridiculous.
It was mean.
That doesn't sound.
How did like this is how you tell people not to watch a movie,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Wow.
I also agree with you that I don't think it deserves a 15% rating. I think that's
No.
insane.
Yeah.
again,
I've
it's
seen-
lower than Twilight, which I'm just like,
I've
come
seen way
on.
worse movies that have had way higher Rotten Tomatoes
I've
scores.
Yeah.
watched the entire Twilight series,
Yeah.
but God, I would not say this is like worse than that.
I tried and I fell asleep in the theaters. But Kaylin,
Caitlin, go on.
your first impressions.
Wow.
Correspondent Caitlin.
So I didn't really know what to expect based off of just the trailers alone. I figured they were going to be kind of gory, which I'm not about a whole lot of gore. So
And it was.
It was pretty gory.
Yeah.
But overall, I liked the movie. Yeah, I guess that's the easiest way to say it. Overall, I liked it, but there were some parts that felt kind of bumpy and clunky for me.
Disjointed a little bit.
Yeah, there were a couple sections that just kind of took me out of it.
Excuse me.
But, I mean, not enough that I was like, bah, I don't like this movie at all. I'm not going to pay attention or have any more fun because it was ruined. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I stayed through the whole thing. I was in it the whole way. I
But
still
did
thought,
you stay till the post credit scene?
okay,
See,
all right.
that's
So
what
there
I
were,
thought.
I messed up. I'm, no,
I did.
don't, get out.
there?
Stop that. Get out of there.
I admit that I didn't see it either, and I don't feel like I made a mistake.
Oh,
Honestly,
I feel like I
the
did.
ending of the film was a better.
Yeah. The post credit is better than
There,
the mid credit.
I stayed for
Yeah,
like,
Post credit,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
see
it
yeah.
it.
was an extra thing, and then I guess I didn't stay for the extra.
Right.
So
I'm
now
I'm one
I
of those
just
people who
feel
will sit in a
silly.
movie theater and go post-credit scenes in Google, and it'll be like,
Yeah.
it has 2, and I'll go, great.
I'm just gonna say like this: after
Dang.
10 years, and you watch something that's a comic book movie that you don't think it's gonna have it, regardless if it's gonna have it or not, it's kind of trained that you
Yeah.
should watch it.
I do that too all the time. And my brother and I have a running gag that like afterthecredits.com, like there should be a website that tells you. Or,
There is.
There is.
is?
I
There
think
is a
it's,
website.
Oh.
It's literally postcreditscenes.com or something like
Perfect.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when I look up every time, like post-credit scenes for Hellboy. And it was like, it has 2.
I wish
okay.
I had thought
Nice.
of that, but I
Um,
didn't, and there was no service in that theater.
So
yeah.
that would bring us to a little bit of a brief synopsis of the
Brief.
lore and the production.
Yeah.
Who would
it
like to
away.
do the brief synopsis? Is that me?
I can do the brief synopsis. You're going to do a lot of the production,
Okay.
right? Y'all can help me out with this too.
You have a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
You have a
yeah.
really good memory. So
quick.
So essentially, it starts with us at. I'm just going to start from the BPRD, where you meet Hellboy. He's in Mexico, looking in Tijuana, looking for his friend. Turns out he's been turned into a vampire. There's a dope wrestling scene, which I actually fucking loved that scene. Then he gets drunk and they bring him back, and his dad's like, "Hey, my friend at the Osiris Club need your help with this hunting giants." And he's like, all right. So he goes there and he finds out that he's actually essentially the spawn of a demon and that his dad was actually sent to kill him originally. But then he was like, I'm going to take him in and I love him. So he goes out on this wild hunt with his dad's friends and they try to kill him because they're like, you're going to cause the end of the world. That's pretty nuts.
Because your real dad is Satan.
But then they get attacked by the giants that they were so sure they could kill on their own. And then he has to fight all 3 giants and takes them out. And then he gets picked up by Emily, is her name? She's another seer who converses with the dead, and you find out he had saved her as a kid, and then you meet Daniel Dane Kim's character, who's named Daimyo, who's kind of a dick, and you're like, why is he such a dick? Why does he hate monsters? Anyway, they got to work together to stop this witch named Nimue, who was a blood witch, who was the mother of demons, and she was put into a bunch of boxes and sent to like the 6 corners of the world. This pig guy is found most of the boxes and is on his way to find the last one at the Osiris Club, where Hellboy goes back and finds everyone's dead. Wow, everyone killed all the people he hated, and he's kind of like, that's great. He recognizes the pig, and he's like, I know you. You tried to steal Emily when she was a little baby. I think it's Emily. Tom's
It's
like,
Alice.
Alice, my bad.
There we go.
Alice, the seer, who's actually really dope, probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. Anyway, the witch gets put back together. Demonology ensues.
Apocalyptic events.
She essentially you find out that Hellboy is the last son of, or not son, but last lineage of King Arthur. And Merlin actually gets him to get Excalibur, but then he sees this vision where he brings the apocalypse, essentially. He is the catalyst for that. He sees himself riding on a dragon with a flaming Excalibur. So he's like, I ain't taking it, dude. They get to this church, fast forward a little bit more, and Nimue kills his dad. And is like, pick up that sword or I'm going to kill your dad. And he's like, no. So she kills his dad, and he picks up the sword and starts to bring about the apocalypse because it's in his nature. He can't help it. All the while, you find out that Daniel Day-King's character is actually a were-jaguar.
Cheetah.
Would you say that?
Yeah.
It's a jaguar.
I think it's a jaguar.
Yeah.
Wear leopard.
Are they the same thing? Anyway, he fights for it, but you find out that he has this bullet that is like, I'm going to take out Hellboy if I need to. And he's like aiming it at him. And then Hellboy's like, nah, girl, and cuts her head off and breaks his horns and saves the day. So he's like a good guy no matter what. Anyway,
even though a lot of people died.
he has a great little moment with his dad where he's like, I've always loved you, even though I've been kind of a dick. And he's like, okay. And then,
Tears ensue.
Then it fast forwards in time, and they're a super badass strike team now, the three of them.
With team shirts.
With team shirts, yeah. And they're investigating this society in like the Arctic. And
Atlantis society.
They defeat this society, and they go up on this like tube thing. And the last moment of the movie is Abe Sapien's hand hitting the side of the glass, and then it ends.
Good job.
Well, ends once.
Yeah, but that's all you really need to know for the movie.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm not going to spoil the credit scenes. How'd that go? That was like a minute and a half, I think.
Wow.
I feel like you
Wow.
under it a lot. I think it's like 2 minutes.
Okay, sure. But it's good. I think it was like 10 minutes.
Regardless, it's good. If it's 20 minutes, it's still good.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
So yeah, Hellboy.
Brief history.
Hellboy, is Dark Horse comic book, so it's not part of the MCU or DCEU, or as Ollie likes to call it. I'm kidding. DCUE.
DCUE.
It's not Image comic, but the story is really singular. There's not like this, crossover event, big thing. There is, events with the BPRD by themselves, or there are events with like Abe by themselves, and so like this is a really rich universe in a sense. So it's really hard to compare it to other forms of media in terms of comic books.
Yeah.
But in terms of movies, everything's on a movie scale,
Yeah.
now, right?
The cool thing about Hellboy is it takes a lot of mythology and bases it and
extrapolates it on it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And a lot of the reason why a lot of people like die hard Hellboy fans from the comic books, actually they like as much as they liked Guillermo Del Toro films, they were saying that's not Hellboy. Like it's the Abe and the Sherman and Hellboy, the three, that's fine. But like a lot of the stories actually take place of like, hey, we're at this BPRD, Broom's always dead, and we got to go do something, and it's always like in a castle far away in Transylvania or like in Scotland. It's always away from society.
Vampires, Loch Ness.
And so a lot of diehard Hellboy fans were really excited for that aspect of like, seeing the wild hunt sequence, seeing like the tree and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And when they compare that to Guillermo del Toro films, like, yeah, it has like the supernatural stuff, and there's no beating Guillermo del Toro's like monster design.
Yeah.
Although this came pretty close. Like, there's some really good fucking.
What I thought
monster
was
design.
interesting is that I was reading that the production design, they were trying to not be like Guillermo del Toro, but there were some that I was like, that almost looks straight out of
Apocalypse.
like a designist.
Well, I felt like it was
standpoint.
like almost like they were going away from Del Toro a little bit and more to Hideo Kojima.
I
Like
could see
some
that.
Silent Hill,
Yeah, I could see that
creepy
for
shit,
sure.
which I was like, I'm here for it.
It's like a love child.
Because
of both.
Baba Yaga scared the crap out
Yeah.
of me.
Really?
it was a guy,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, like her
The way she-
Body
her
movements.
chest
Because they hired
and
a
were like just
hired a
super separated
contortionist, too.
apart, and her eyeball and her mouth is all. Anyways,
Shout out to that contortionist.
We'll talk about that later, by the by.
But yeah, so a lot of people are really excited
Wait,
about
what?
this.
I missed it.
Baba Yaga's chesticles.
Oh, yeah.
But talking a little bit about the production of this specifically, Ron Perlman did have 3. He was doing actually most of the legwork for 3. Guillermo del Toro's hands were tied at Legendary because he had to do Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And he said the only way he could only do Hellboy 3 is if he did Pacific Rim 1, and it did really, really well.
Well,
and it did.
The unfortunate part is that they were slated to do it, and then the studio gave all control, took it away from Del Toro, and gave it to Mike Mignola and someone else. And so Perlman walked because he's like, well, if Del Toro's not in charge, I'm not doing it.
Oh,
and so
wow.
then Doug Jones walked, and then it got put into production shelf.
There's a really good Collider interview.
Which is like camaraderie. I dig it.
There's a really good Collider interview of showing how Ron Perlman, after that fact, was still trying to appeal to the studio.
Yeah.
And like getting everyone involved and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
like it's really heartbreaking because he ultimately feels like it's his fault that it didn't go through. And by the time we're recording this, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between outside those spectrums, today is the day after Ron Perlman's birthday.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so
Happy
it's
birthday,
like,
Ron Perlman.
we still love you for everything you do and everything like that, but it's kind of like, now we're talking about Hellboy. So yeah, it's this later on got strained through production as well, and more reports have come out for this film. Talking about that, going into the production of it, this was distributed by Lionsgate. The first film was distributed by Universal. First one was distributed by Legendary. So one franchise, 3 studios.
Wow.
Interesting.
It's a little sad. Neil Marshall was the director who did The Descent, which was like really big claim to fame. Doomsday, Centurion, and later on did episodes for TV for like those hour-long Westworld, Game of Thrones. Production. Now this is the crazy thing. There are 8 producers on this fucking movie.
Wow.
It's a lot to juggle.
And this thing, it kind of, to me, it
A lot
told
of
me
cooks
the
in the kitchen.
narrative. It told me the narrative, like, there are 3 directors in each camp, at least. So Lawrence Gordon, Lloyd Levin, and Mike Richardson all did Hellboy 1 and 2 and the animated films. And then you have, they have other films like Boogie Nights and The Mask, Time Cop, everything like that. And so those all 3 worked on this film. Then you have Philip Weskren and Carl Hemp, who both of them have never produced a film. This is their first time producing a film. They've had producing capacities like UPM, which is like it's like lower under the producer, but not a full blown producer. You got Matt O'Toole, Les Weldon, and Yariv Learn, who are all producers on The Expendables, and London Has Fallen and Olympus Has Fallen. And those to me kind of showed me the aesthetic for this film.
Yeah,
definitely.
100%.
Whereas you had Lawrence Gordon, Lloyd Levin, Mike Richardson, who were like part of the old, cast, who were part of the old crew. So.
The old gods.
Yeah. Screenplay, Andrew Cosby, who did the Haunted TV series Eureka and produced 2 Guns. Hellboy is created by Mike Mignola. Cast David.
I heard that Mike Mignola also helped write the screenplay.
I just wrote. Oh, yeah. And then David Harbour did Stranger Things. I fell in love with him with Black Mass.
Yes, dude.
A little bit of soy.
Yeah. A little bit of soy.
Suicide Squad and The Newsroom. Milla Jovovich, who was in Fifth Element. Resident Evil. Fourth Kind. Shout out to Scott Nopolis. Ian McShane. I think just like Josh is one of his favorites. Who's in Deadwood, Pirates of the Caribbean, Stranger Tides, John Wick, Excommunicado.
Yes.
And
Excommunicado.
Kung Fu Panda. Sasha
Deadwood,
Lane,
baby.
who plays Alice, who's in American Honey, Miseducation of Cameron Post, and Heart Beats Loud. Daniel Day Kim, who was in Lost, Hawaii Five-0. Shout out to Anthony Steves. The Cave.
Also, Saints Row. He's Johnny Gat in Saints Row.
He's also in K-Town Cowboys, which is a YouTube series, and they made a movie, and it's really funny. And he's also in Legend of Korra. And
Surprise cameo by
Thomas Hayden Church. Is that a surprise cameo?
I didn't know he was in it until the R-rated trailer.
Oh, I know.
What does he do?
Thomas Hayden Church
the
is the
lobster.
lobster.
Oh, is that?
He's
See My
from like
Claw.
Sideways
Oh, that's right.
and
Yeah,
Tombstone and a bunch of stuff.
And Spider-Man
He's
3.
incredible.
Oh, yeah, he's
Easy
Sandman.
A,
I know who. Yeah, I just couldn't
and
recognize
George
him
of the
in that.
Jungle.
Yes.
The film's runtime is 121 minutes, so 1 minute over 2 hours. Released April 12, 2019. The budget was $50 million. The gross on Saturday was $4.8 million.
Today
So-
it's at 15%.
15%. So it's
Rotten
at
Tomatoes.
so it's at like what 8%, 8 million.
Sorry, no, just 15% audience score
Oh,
on Rotten
15%
Tomatoes.
audience score on Rotten, or 15% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. And then
Yeah.
six-
What has it made back? 12 million as of today.
okay.
Wow.
And then audience score was at 66%.
Wow.
So the audience liked it more than the critics. Again, there's the schism and the divisiveness that we have.
Yeah.
But with that, it brings us into our actual conversation of the show.
Yeah.
Where we
Favorite
get to
parts?
subject.
I can start us unless
Yeah.
someone else wanted to.
Go for it.
I was just gonna say pretty much anything Milla Jovovich did on screen. I thought her acting was fucking superb. She was super cool, like a really cool character.
Yeah.
She really committed to the craziness of it all, which I loved. My favorite part of hers is when she's sitting and watching TV
Yeah.
in separate parts.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was fucking awesome. Like breaking off a piece of the thorn crown and throwing it was super cool. All of her powers were awesome. like I said, I would watch if they were like, we have just a Blood Witch movie. I'd be like, yeah, sign me up, 100%.
Yeah, I'm right with you.
I also, I got to give a shout out to Abe Sapien. He's my favorite Hellboy.
The one hand.
Shout out to
So like the
24
fact that,
frames.
So that the fact that they put that in there made me really happy. Not in a post-credit scene, but like in the actual movie, getting to see the society that created him and stuff like that made me really happy. Because I was really sad that he wasn't in this. Like, there was something very special about the dynamic between Hellboy and Abe Sapien. Seeing this like kind of brutish guy who's like, main thing is to just punch things, and then another guy who's like
It's
kind
Raphael
of a telepath
Donatello.
and intelligent and like studies art and stuff, but they get along perfectly.
And they get drunk together.
Yeah. And then I had one other favorite part was the Capricorn line. I'm a Capricorn. I don't think it really worked out. I'm a Capricorn and you're fucking crazy. Even though he's a Libra.
He's not. I was going to say he's not a Capricorn.
And they actually play on that in the comics a little bit because he's always like human, demon.
Well, yeah, he plays in between the both. For me, my favorite parts were I love a lot of elements in this film. Like I liked the wild hunt sequences. I like the idea of it. I liked his later on existential crisis of like, why we kill everything? Why didn't you kill me? I like that dilemma he had. I liked, when he actually started to get into fights. I mean, you can't hate. I love fucking full Devil Boy. Yeah. Like full on horns and all that stuff. I think that's dope.
The fire crown and stuff.
Yeah, I liked
that visual of him flying on that dragon. Like
I was gonna say that's
cool.
one of my favorite parts.
And it catches everything on fire where the tail was.
The way that he slides down, I was like, oh,
Hot in more ways than one.
I liked
the dragon.
Yeah.
I liked not the introduction, but like the involvement of changelings with babies, because I love like Troll Hunters, Guillermo Del Toro. Like that's pretty much the premise of the entire show. And
also that wrestling scene.
Wrestling was cool. I liked
the wrestling was so good.
The wrestling scene didn't like amaze me. It was what happened at the end.
Yeah,
and that was like.
That tied the whole thing
so
for me.
It's very good.
I liked the let's see what's under your mask line and stuff like that. But,
I liked, when the scorpion, stings him and he says like, you're just doing what you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like, there's a lot of stuff in there and it's just like, there's not a lot of breathing room between the two. Like I love the parts with him and Alice. And I like how Daimyo gets the bullet and then he finally says like, it's a mistake. Like there are growth points, but it's just like, you don't get to connect them all the time. And it's like, okay, I know where this is going to play. And it's like buttoned up. It's pretty well buttoned up. Yeah. Like where Alice like discovers new powers and then she gets involved in the BPRD. Yeah. And then fucking Granny who needs an ID gets killed. So I'm like, yeah, you do.
I really liked when Merlin crumbles to dust
and
and comes out as a moth.
Yeah.
And then the moth gets eaten by a hawk.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Crows.
Amazing. That was
crows.
so beautiful. Also, I really love when Alice to Daimyo is like, you should probably leave. This is like not gonna be pretty. And he's like, I'm tough. And then she like throws up the lady.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
Turns all inside out.
I actually really do like a lot of his interactions between other monsters. Like how it's very casual. Like he knows Baba Yaga. He knows and he doesn't like give a lot
Hellboy.
of shit. Yeah. He doesn't give a lot of shit to like Nimoy and all that stuff. And so it's kinda like this is a world that he's already lived in. And I kinda like that comfortability.
Yeah.
So
I also like how uncomfortable he got when he realized like Baba Yaga was serving him kids.
Oh yeah, I love that because it just showed the scene before that of how like no, maybe monsters can live with humans if we stop killing the monsters, and then you show that Baba Yaga just kills people,
kills kids,
and that's what
kids.
it is.
Human kids.
Baba Yaga.
And so it's kind of like his interjection is like completely destroyed.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
I mean,
some can't be saved.
Yeah. Favorite parts have already really been mentioned. Like bigger scope kind of things. I visually really enjoyed a lot of the design about it. Some of the monsters were I thought were a lot of fun. The sound design and the use of surround mixing were a lot of fun because there was one scene, like the scene when the crystal ball is rolling. The sound was actually moving around
behind you.
Around the theater, and I was like, "Is that happening?" And I had to be like, "It is.
That's cool.
It's moving around the room. This is awesome." And then,
which made it much scarier too.
Yeah, like there was a lot of the use of sound in different sections too, where they were using the surround sound part of the mixing to immerse you in kind of the soundscape and also the feel. It felt real creepy due to some of the sound. And then for me, I am a sucker for a rock soundtrack. I mean, there was some Muse in there. There was some Muse in there, which I'm a huge fan of Muse. I just really loved the soundtrack and the use of it in some of the scenes.
I agree. I thought that was really played well to that like metal kind of side of things.
Was there any point that you felt when you watched it the music was too loud?
Actually, funny enough, I did not, but Bonnie and I walked out of the movie going, the music was not loud enough.
Okay, so my theater I think is actually messed up.
Yeah.
We went to the Limley.
I went to a Century, and my thing was like I was like I can't hear what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, I think my mix was messed up, and I was like,
I think they fixed ours partway through because it was really loud, and then like 5 minutes in, it got to a normal level.
There's a part where he's like screaming, and the music drowns out his like.
That's not right. I was like, that shouldn't happen.
I was like, well, I'm not. And then for me, I was kind of like, I'm not gonna put it against the movie.
The other thing that I will say that I liked about this overall is that when I watched, not to compare in terms of what's better or best in terms of preference, like Del Toro's were, I felt, though his designs are so kooky, it was smooth. Like I'm gonna go down to like even his horns. Like in the Del Toro versions, they're essentially smooth with some rough edges. This movie was rough, like all the way through. Like gritty, it was gritty, and I really really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Not saying that I preferred it. It was just like it's cool to see something different. It was like,
for sure.
Whoa, that was hardcore.
Going back to the horns, one of my favorite parts is when his dad Broom is shaving his horns.
Yeah.
And he gives him like a really nice.
I think you're very good looking.
Yeah, and I was like, oh.
Thanks,
but then you
Dad.
see, it's just kind of like Del Toro's. He has the fucking like huge shaver,
This like
Sander.
power
Electric
sander.
sander.
and then he does it just with the little hand thing. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, and then you get to see the little. I'm like, cool, I get to see it.
Yeah.
Ali.
For me, it was essentially Milla Jovovich's performance. Like I'm a huge fan of hers, and I think she knocked it out of the park. She did the best with the material she was given,
Which is nice.
and-
Across the board, reviews have praised her performance, which I was really excited about.
And
because I think she deserved it.
yeah, and
She's
like
badass as shit.
it was weird. I kind of wanted her to win in a weird like. I was like, why do I want her to win?
Well, because she's
that'll go
Magnetoing
into-
it
She is It's like all she wants is for demons to be free,
Yeah.
essentially.
because
But
she was
really
locked
in a
up the
sense.
entire time.
Yeah.
But that bleeds into the next section. So, but essentially, yeah, Milla Jovovich. I think that was for me. Not only was my favorite part, but it's only with my experience. That was only one of the only like real redeemable parts of the movie.
I will say with that whole thing, your idea of like wanting her to win, I did like, and you guys have heard me say this on the show, I do like it when you get to see a little bit of the end of the world because you get to see the consequence.
Yeah.
If you just always prevent it, then it's like the danger's never here.
Yep.
Like who cares? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So
I think that's perfect to use. I think that just happened too late in the film.
Yeah.
I think that's probably because I was thinking about it and I was like, because they don't really show her being bad ever until
The very
the
end.
first time they show her being bad is when she's hurting her own sisters. And I'm like,
well,
That was cool, by the way.
Yeah.
That
Which was
that
the
ability
contortion.
just
super OP.
loved it.
does
I
that-
still can't get over the.
Well, just speaking a little
I
bit about
know.
Milla Jovovich, I want everyone, Corey and I talked about it. I don't know if you guys seen it on social media, like how she's taken to the whole negative backlash with the film.
oh, what is she doing?
She literally typed in, it's like, you can put all your life and energy and love into something, and then it comes out and you have to absorb all the hate, ... But that's showbiz.
That's showbiz, baby.
Yeah, that's showbiz, baby. And
That's
like,
literally
Lots of
showbiz,
hate.
baby.
for
Take it on the
someone,
chin.
for someone who like has led the entire Resident Evil franchise through, all
Which
of
are
the,
fan favorites, but critically panned.
not a lot of fans like him either.
I did. I thought they're
Well,
fun.
I mean, there's some
really
fans,
love
but
them.
like
I like the first couple.
a lot of
Corey.
those
I
diehard
just like
Resident Evil
Milla
fans are
Jovovich.
like, blah. It's like it's so cool to see that, and also like I just imagine the positivity she has going into Monster Hunter because I know a lot of people are already dreading that movie, and it's like, just give her a fucking break. man.
I think I mean, say what you want about Resident Evil. They're not great films, quote unquote great films, but they're fun and she's great. Like,
Yeah.
the whole point of watching Resident Evil is to just watch Milla
Watch her
Jovovich
do
be
things.
a badass for like an hour and a half.
and
Yeah.
sometimes
The same reason I went to go see Aquaman. I wanted to see Jason Momoa do things.
Yeah.
and sometimes
without a
you
shirt
see her
on.
in 3D.
Yes. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
That's kind of cool.
It's dope.
Yeah.
But going into
Yeah.
favorite characters and side characters.
Yeah. Who's starting us off here?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say favorite side character is Major Ben Daimyo.
Damn
Daimyo. I really dug him. I wanted to see more of his story. I mean, next, like honorable mention would be Alice. I really enjoyed.
Favorite
Enjoyed
main
her.
character?
I mean, who's the
I
main
guess
characters?
it'd be like Hellboy and Nimue if you had to pick one, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
It's
featured
hard
both
with
on-
these
You
titular
don't have to.
films. It's
We
hard
can
with
go
these
side
titular.
characters.
Is Nimue main character?
Just go character, favorite character of the film.
I was gonna say Nimue.
Favorite character of the film?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Nimue.
Hellboy.
Mine's Nimue.
Yeah, it's Hellboy. I liked Hellboy. I mean, he's a fucking baby.
I mean, if I
thing.
had to choose like gun to my head, I'd say Hellboy.
Man,
Yeah.
boy got some thickness compared to Ron Perlman. I was like, God damn.
You're like, stop
Save
it. Probably Nimue.
Yeah.
Just
She's cool as
because
shit.
she had so much. There was so much about her that I found interesting.
What's that,
Hellboy
Tom?
thicker than a Snickers. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
Oh my
Anyway.
god!
What does that even mean?
So that
you know,
brings
Josh.
us
C's.
to qualms.
Hungry, why wait?
Corey's qualm is Tom's
boy.
reaction
Yeah.
to Hellboy's thickness levels.
I'll go first because I think I'm actually going to be like the nicest one about it all.
Okay.
You don't know that.
Huh?
You don't know that.
I know. Again, like I said, there's a lot of elements I really liked in this film, but I to me feel like what they were trying to do was just take a lot of stories from the comic books that a lot of people liked and then put them into a movie. And it feels like when you read it on paper of like, yeah, he comes from one mission, then goes to another mission, and in that mission he finds out like he's his origin, and then like he's going to get killed, or like he has to bring it upon the end of the world, and then his dad dies, X, Y, and Z. It's like, yeah, that should play out, but like every single scene is like so not connected to the last scene, and it feels like it's connected to the scene before it. And so like with that, it kind of feels like that vignette feel, which I don't mind, but then some people say that does not make a good story.
I felt
right?
it was missing like establishing shots and stuff that I felt like it needed to.
Funny thing, I think it did too much.
Yeah.
Really?
Because it shows him like flying on a plane into a car.
And then it also on the screen is
I was like, Jesus, okay, Russos, we get it. In space. Who gives a fuck? It's like, we're here. Like, and I was thinking about that a lot. I was like, you just have him walk in. Just have him walk in the Osiris Club. Just have him walk into this place. I don't need to see the building. And they have a lot of those, which is like, this is like filmmaking 101. It's like, yeah, you establish the establishing shot so you can have it in there. But like, I didn't need it because it was kind of jumpy to begin with. A lot of the times I was watching, it kind of felt like a sci-fi, like SYFY film,
Yeah.
which isn't bad because fucking Pitch
Carnivore
Black,
4.
Pitch Black came from that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a great film. And so it just kind of felt that way, like it was shot in that sense, where it's like just really fast paced. Here's a story, and here you go. And I think it kind of relies a little bit on like the fact that like we don't want an origin story because everyone in the world doesn't want an origin story apparently anymore. And I'm like, those are typically the best movies.
Well, this movie like relies on it, so it's like just do it then.
Well, it's kind of like and I told Corey this. I felt like the true narrative of the film starts at the Wild Hunt.
Yeah.
Where he finds out who he is, and then he goes and gets betrayed. And I was kind of like, how would I try to get all the stuff that happened beforehand and put it in? And it's like, again, I don't fucking care for narration in the beginning, like here's what happened years ago and the rings and shit. But I'm kidding.
Wow.
Deep cuts.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
But and then
I think you only did that for the studio, right?
11 Academy
I
Awards.
think the studio wanted
not that one. But
Sorry, 8 Academy Awards.
not that one. First one. No.
First one.
And then like I was kind of just thinking about it's like because it's like I just feel like almost like writing it like I think it's good. I think the writing is good somewhere, but then just how they rearrange it would have been a little bit.
It's like
different.
writing an essay, and you're like, nah, I want that paragraph to go down here, this one to go
that's
here.
what I kinda
this one
felt
to
like
go
it was
here, and
somewhere
you're like,
between it's somewhere between the writer and the editor.
Well,
where I don't know if the editor just didn't have what he needed to work with, or
so from what I've read online is actually there was a bunch of production issues.
yeah.
Like,
Really?
and a lot of this has been like from the director, and then the lawyers of the producers are saying
what I
no.
thought.
And again, I'm trying to draw a picture. 8 producers. It's a lot of fucking people just be like on one project. That's $50 million. It's not even Avengers. It's not $200 million production. It's like, why are there 8 producers? And it's like, here are the Hellboy guys. Here are the Lionsgate guys. That's what I felt like. And it's like the Lionsgate guys were like, we need to have this, and the Hellboy guys like, shut up. And it's like, here are these 2 also producers who are like, whatever. It's like they also need to have credit too.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know if they need to, but it's kind of like I felt like the schism between the two, because what happened was like they were arguing on small things like production design. They're not small, but like the tree with Nimue, it was supposed to be asymmetrical, and then throughout the entire time it was symmetrical, then asymmetrical, then symmetrical.
Yeah.
And then it didn't get to the point where until they were in post where he just flipped it and made it asymmetrical, and it's stuff like that where it's like
There were a
there's
lot
this-
of cooks in the kitchen where
Yeah.
I was like, everyone's like, oh no,
8
you put that.
producers, right? 6 producers?
8.
Yeah.
8.
8 producers, and it's like it's crazy. But I
Of
mean,
course, that's gonna happen.
yeah, I mean, those are really my main things. It's like I like a lot of elements. I just feel like if they were kind of placed differently, then I think it would have been nicer and better done.
Yeah.
But that's really.
I'll go next because I think I'm probably going to be a little bit nicer as well.
I'm gonna be nicer than you.
Guys, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
Paint everyone else's assholes.
But you're not assholes. That's not what I said.
Well, I
think that
I thought you, Corey. I thought you said paint my asshole, and I was
Yeah,
like, no.
paint my asshole.
No.
Please paint my
Anyways,
asshole.
No is the answer.
So go on.
Go
Josh?
ahead.
Qualms.
I'll go next. I think it's going to basically the way that I viewed it was I'm going to sound like old man Manly here, and
Old manly.
and forgive the pun as well. The gore. There were some points that I was just like, okay, you do not need to hit me over the head with it.
I felt that too.
Yeah.
I felt like they're like, we want an R rating.
Yeah.
And you're like, but don't take away from the story. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, we're going to have this guy's head ripped off. Just the skin. You're like, okay. The cool thing about Silent Hill, they have a scene where Triangle Head literally picks up someone and twists their skin
Isn't
off.
it Pyramid Head?
Whatever it is. And it's terrifying
Close enough.
because it's the only instance of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
me, it became like a very like, A, I became very numb to it. And
Yeah.
B, it felt like trying really hard.
Well, I guess that there were some scenes that I was like, let me be clear. I don't mind gore.
Yeah.
I really don't. But there were some scenes like the final scene, the final kind of apocalypse scene. I was just like, do it once. You only need it once. You can show me how intense it was. During the fight scene with the giants, I was like, I only need it once to understand that things are gonna
Serious.
get real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like show. I don't mind if it is in each of those scenes, but it was just like boom, boom, and I was like,
Yeah.
I had to look away at some point.
The only
was
reason I
like,
bring
whoa.
that face ripping one off is because like I think that's a strong image as far as
Yeah,
gore goes and
definitely.
terrifying.
Yeah.
If it wasn't followed, or I guess it was before or followed by someone getting ripped in half and then someone getting like put over a knife and skinned
Yeah.
that way, and you're like, okay, once or twice is
Yeah.
fine, but you showed me 4 instances in a row
You
of
know
the
what
same
I
thing.
love
You
about-
saw people decapitated like 4 times in a row, and you're like, or ripped in half. I'm like, yeah,
They just wanted
Wow.
that R. They
You know-
wanted the R rating.
Yeah.
What I loved about the face being ripped off, though.
I
is
loved it.
when the guy's like, ah! he like touches his
God.
It
face.
just would have been stronger if it wasn't.
I was
That's
actually
what I'm looking for.
kind of the less is more kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
yeah,
I was actually thinking about it because it's like I think of God of War,
yeah.
and we love that gore, but it's like it's unique gore.
Yeah.
Well-
and every single one is unique every time you do it.
So
And it's
the-
not one after another.
The gore that was actually scary to me was the thing with the needle legs that was walking with
stepping on
people
people.
on
Oh
it.
God.
That was like picking up people,
Oh, yeah.
and one of the people was like alive and like dealing with the trauma of like, I'm going to die. There's no
Yeah.
way to not die from this. Like that was gore that was horrifying.
Yeah.
But like
Gorifying.
peeling skin off and like it sounds so funny that I'm so blasé about like peeling your face off
Yeah.
and like skinning someone alive on a knife. Like they were
the thing.
too fantastical.
I liked all of them.
which is
It was
funny.
just the amount.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it was. Yeah,
I was
guess-
I didn't
stuck.
have a problem with any
the
of
point
any of it.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
though is that one instance of gore was actually scary. The
Yeah.
other ones were like funny.
Yeah.
I don't mind the gore.
That was my issue where I was like, am I supposed to laugh at this because I don't find it funny?
Right.
And then am I
Yeah.
supposed to be horrified, but you just made a joke? Or you
Well, I
just
mean,
followed it with a joke
so-
about kissing something?
I guess the thing, like for me, like I've told you guys before, I went through this stint where I was just renting a lot of horror movies.
Yeah.
And like Rob Zombie kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
House of a Thousand
As he
Corpses
does.
was
Shout
the
out.
end for me because
Rob
I don't
Zombie,
like
thanks
it
for
when
watching.
you're just trying to show me creative ways to destroy the human body.
Right.
And I'm like,
gore
yeah,
porn.
some of them were like, that was
Crazy.
Upsetting.
That was
crazy cool.
That was fucking
but
awesome.
I don't need that.
That's how I felt about like the 4th or 5th Saw movie. I was kind of like, I'm done.
After like
and
7, I
not
was
a,
like, okay.
I'm not a fan of horror or gore or
Yeah.
any of it. And I'm like, and it was weird. Like Deadpool, I don't have an issue with any of it. But for this, it
I
went
don't
back
think
to
Deadpool's gory.
No.
to me.
It's clean
Hey,
gory.
it's violent,
I
but
would
a
call
guy
it's
it.
not
gets
gory.
splattered against a highway sign.
That's okay.
But so I
But in
think
gore.
I think
Yeah.
you're having
But
the
that's
same
like
issue
that's
that
my
I
limit
do,
though. That
where
is
it's
my
like,
absolute limit.
It's real level of gore.
Yeah, where I'm like,
it was gross and real.
But that one
but
is
it
used
wasn't-
as a joke, is what you were saying. Like you
Yes.
know that a guy splattering against a highway
Yes.
sign is funny.
that's
Right.
hilarious because he makes
But a
jokes
guy
on
getting
it.
flopped against a knife and pulled.
Right.
Like,
And I'm
is
like,
that funny?
And it's because I don't know if you guys noticed this, but a lot of that is detached from Hellboy, where like it kind of happens around him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they cut away to the apocalypse. And they
Well,
cut
yeah, because
back.
it's showing what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
It's showing what's happening. Like
Or
that
like
he got
not
this-
super detached, but like he's not involved with it.
It's not personal.
Like the giant scene. Like he's not involved with any of that gore,
Yeah.
but it happened.
Yeah.
So that's why
Well,
I was
I mean,
like, does it need to
might
be in
I?
here?
I'm going to just make a suggestion. Might I say it's a little removed from you
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be a direct response of his action of taking the sword, and I think that's
Yeah.
what it's supposed to be. It's kind of
I
like
get it.
It's
Yeah,
tied
yeah,
in
yeah.
that
I
way.
would say like this. Like I hate to draw like a weird random illusion. It's season 2 of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
When like he sees the plane explode, it's not even happening to him. It's happening because of the effects that he's done. That's caused all these things to happen. That someone now crashed a plane. Like it doesn't even happen to him, but like that's literally the like indirect response
But
of it.
did he cause it or was it?
He caused it.
Yeah.
The moment he grabs the sword, the end of the world starts because that's like the key.
Yeah. And that's what releases them all.
And
I guess,
that's what he grabbed it and he saw it in Merlin's
Personally,
cave.
that like while I understood it, I didn't know why it was happening. Like I knew that the like Excalibur was going to give him a lot of power and he could like use it as he wants, but I didn't understand why even holding it means
Because he was
the end of the
fulfilling a
world.
prophecy.
So-
He was the prophecy.
Philosophy.
I feel like Merlin wouldn't have wanted him to take it then.
Well,
didn't-
he
he
said
didn't
you
know.
have to do whatever it takes to kill her.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And then like that technically he did what Merlin wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
did take the sword because that's the only thing that could kill her.
But if
Yeah.
he had taken
In Merlin's
it then,
mind,
then it
he's
would
the
have been
son of Arthur.
He would have like been mind controlled. Or
He's
whatever.
Hellboy's the only one who saw the real prophecy, which is the I'm going to bring about the end of the world kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
And he's the key. He's the gateway. They play with that in the first
one.
First one, Del Toro one.
know,
Does the same
Rama.
thing.
Well, and then they use anyways. It's not that movie.
My last, I have some, but it sounds like based on previous conversations, some of us share those same ones.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Bring it in.
let those people
Yeah, yeah.
talk about that. One other one that I had was, it was the revealing. Okay, so there was this like dramatic scene with Merlin and the Excalibur sword coming out of this, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I used all the last of my power to bring it here."
You fool!
And then it's under the church that they happen to be at, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
You didn't
Yeah.
sacrifice yourself, bro.
Well, he could have just said it's over here.
So Merlin
Yeah.
died for nothing.
Sort of.
Well, he
Sort
died
of.
for our sins.
Because he didn't know where it was either.
No, I know. It was just kind of one of those things.
He just
like,
could channel wherever
yeah,
it was. in
it
the
happened
world.
like 5 minutes later that I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Some of the-
one of these scenes doesn't belong or
Yeah.
is unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. They had
But,
they had to get her
That's getting Merlin back
unpoisoned
in
somehow. Although I did like that. Like, should we be concerned with where that thing is going?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the super little, yeah.
Was
Was that Daimyo? No. Yeah.
Do you have any more besides the gore?
I did feel that the story, like the vignettes aspect was, I mean, we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but I felt like it was kind of clunky.
Disjointed a little bit.
Yeah.
It's okay. We already talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tom. Yeah.
That took away from the experience from
That's
you.
good. Yeah, it did. I mean, not
Enough
in
to,
such a way where I hated it, but
so I want to understand it because I've heard it in this group and now I'm hearing it again. I don't understand the disjointed. It felt like a through line for me.
because
So I want to understand it because I've heard it not just
well,
from
it's
this
like
group,
what
but-
Tom was saying. Like,
Can I-
so like
yeah.
the Wild Hunt is a comic on its own,
Yeah.
and so it felt like they were trying to make as many big plot points in the Hellboy universe into one movie, and it felt very like now we're in the
Yeah.
forest, now we're in
Oh,
the
okay. Meanwhile,
I thought
Yeah.
that
and then this, and then this.
and now they're
yeah.
fighting zombies, and now they're in Merlin's cave, and now they're in King Arthur's
Okay.
castle.
right.
Okay.
So there were
Like-
just so many stories happening all at once.
Can I make and Corey will like this.
And each scene goes.
I'll make a parallel to Two Towers.
Yeah.
And I think the way that they did it well, but it's something that I talked about, and I said the part where Took and Boy, whatever, are walking on or are sitting on Ent.
Merry and Pippin.
Yeah. And it's,
Tookin' boy.
and it's just like this scene, then that scene, then back to the end scene, then back to this scene, then back to that. But the thing is, I probably can guarantee, like, I'll bet 90% of my whole body that those scenes, of my whole body,
Yeah, I get it. 90%
body.
of your whole body.
of my whole
90%.
body, that
Everything
those
except the head.
Ent scenes are longer than any of the other scenes
Yeah.
in Hellboy, and it's because people call that the breathing room, and people call it like they in a broad stroke way where it's like each scene is so fast paced and that they're very starkly different from the last scene, and that's
Yeah.
why people say it's like a vignette. A lot of people call that with Batman vs Superman,
Yeah.
even though a lot of sequences are smaller or a lot bigger.
And in the Ultimate Cut, you don't get that.
yeah. So it's just kind of like that where it's like we're here, but the thing is, Hellboy's in every scene mostly, other than with Nimoy,
Yeah.
and that's why it's like he's here now, he's here now, he's here now, he's here now, he's here. But with Two Towers, it's like we're following two storylines.
Okay.
And then some people,
Okay, I get that,
Some
yeah.
people will defend the Two Towers because
understand
it's
that.
like, well, it's expanding the universe, and that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Well, this one's like, here's one storyline, and like
Yeah.
it's mainly a fight scene.
Yeah.
But I love the fucking change.
I understand now.
Yeah.
I was like, am I missing something?
No.
But
No.
you guys explaining it makes sense.
Corey, Ali.
Ollie, go ahead.
If I have to like bring this down to like a couple, because I have a very long list in
Way
front
to
of me.
bring. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Hey,
I'm kidding.
I gotta keep it real.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with this is the plot. Is that I found it felt like 2 or 3 different movies, like we've talked about. But to me, the plot specifically I feel like it had, I don't want to call them plot holes, but like weird, like logical paradoxes.
Logic gap.
within
Yeah,
that.
logic gap. Yeah.
Yeah, where like for instance, the hunt, right? It's like, okay, we summoned you from America or wherever you are to help us kill 3 giants, because 3 giants is way different than 2 giants for whatever reason. And then it turns out that they're
Hunting
betraying him, right? And it's like, cool twist, awesome. You pulled him out of here. You're gonna
Bring him in the middle of
bring
nowhere.
him in. You monologued, which is like, why? Okay, you're convincing him to come on to the hunt or whatever. You're showing your good faith. And then there are 3 giants.
Yeah.
It's like, why are there?
Handle
you
the
didn't
3
have
giants
to
first.
No, why are there giants at all? Like you're tricking him to come to England to take him to a hunt, quote unquote.
Well, I think it's because
kill him.
To me, I think it's because giants are always there. But it's like
Well, then,
happened to be there's still 3 giants.
if there's 3 giants, why on earth would you risk
both.
your mission
Yeah.
that you've never done 3 giants before to sidetrack and to kill Hellboy? So like that really bothered me while I was watching it, because like as soon as that guy got punched or whatever it was, I was like, wait, there's actually giants?
Yeah.
What kind of plan is
the
that?
only part about that bugged me, I can get behind like there's always giants there and they didn't actually like, oh shit, there's actually 3 giants. Like there's been plenty of times where I'll call something in like a sports game or a movie and I go, oh shit, it actually happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can get by that. But the fact is that the SWAT came from the front of where 10 people were looking, meaning that the giant came from the front.
Yeah. That's
So it's
So
like,
how did you
the
not see
10
that?
people who are very good at hunting giants not see the giant come from right in front of you, behind the guy you're looking at and killing? That was the only part I can give. If it came behind them, dope. But the swing comes from the front and smacks him out of the way.
So that was just one example. There's a few other ones, but that like essentially I didn't like how one thing I didn't mention, I really liked the boar demon.
Oh,
The
yeah,
changeling?
yeah.
I loved him and his accent, and
Garsh Kamel, or whatever
was-
his name was.
I really enjoyed watching him, but his plan was a little
Gruaga.
strange to
Thank
me
you.
because
That was close.
unless he didn't know
Gargamel's from
that this would happen,
Thundercats.
but he goes and gets the Blood Queen together, and then so his plan from Baba Yaga is to reinstate the Blood Queen so he can destroy
your
the
full potential.
You want revenge because Hellboy didn't let you have a childhood or whatever with humans.
Yeah.
But your revenge is to destroy the Earth and then unleash the Blood Queen and make him king of the Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he didn't want it. He
He-
wanted to kill Hellboy. That she
I
switches
don't
it on him.
think
Right.
he
When he-
even knew about that.
I think he put her back together because he assumed the whole
Well, because
promise.
he made a promise to Baba Yaga.
He made a promise about but all the queen ever told him was that I'll restore you to your full potential, which was that huge fucking
He never knew about her and Hellboy having a fling.
So that's what I was saying.
until
So,
way later. She tricked him.
but aside
yeah,
from that,
Like a fiddle.
aside from the plot stuff, it was just the tonal things that I really had a problem with. Like
The tone is kind of like
the Baba Yaga scene, I love the design of that character and like
And
the
the
contortion.
dinner.
Like
yeah.
it was creepy and scary, and I was like, this is the stuff I can get behind. This is the horror elements that like I kind of enjoy.
Pan's
Yeah.
Labyrinth.
Like that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
But then like it's lighthearted, you're making jokes, and then there's a kid's finger and there's kids on meat hooks behind you.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to continue my laughing, maybe, and then like right after it, she slobbers on him, and that's hilarious and
Yeah.
gross. And I'm like, what am I? I don't know what I'm supposed to feel right now.
yeah.
There's a lot of things.
I mean, for me,
So I was just frustrated. It is like if one word describing this movie for me is frustration.
yeah.
I think I don't know. This is kind of me, and like maybe it's because I'm a little desensitized from like gore and stuff like that. Like this is kind of the world that it's in.
Yeah.
And, like fucked up things happen all the time. So I didn't feel like I wasn't laughing at all mainly
Yeah.
throughout the movie.
Yeah. neither.
But then it's like everything's just decrepit. Everything's garbage and ugly. And so like watching this, it's like I got more of the dramatic sense of it instead of like like liking her character.
Caitlin?
So I forgot about kind of a big qualm on my end, and it's the prosthetics. They really bothered me a lot.
All of them?
Most all, yeah.
Do you have a specific you want to say?
So Hellboy's face was really static, and there was a time where, again, I know I noticed a lot of very tiny things, but when I notice them, it's really hard to unsee them.
I wonder if you're going to say the one that I'm thinking of. Go ahead.
He falls on the ground, and his horn hits the ground, and like his horn moves separate from his skin. So it like from that moment on, I was like, his face is really stiff. And then I noticed, it's not that there were seams, like the makeup was really well done, but it was just too solid.
Yeah, I agree. For me, that was one of my qualms, is that David Harbour's makeup, I think, took away from his performance.
I think
and
it
it's
did
the
too.
reason they spent like 6 months or something doing test makeup on Jim Carrey for The Grinch, because it's like, you hire Jim Carrey, the one thing you don't want to do is
Mess up
paralyze
the
his face.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think David Harbour does a lot of acting through his eyes and his face.
Right.
And due to the brow that they gave Hellboy, you lose a lot of that.
The
You
little
lose a lot of his
Neanderthal-
eyes. Like,
Neanderthal.
I mean,
Well,
it's
also,
hard to.
you barely can understand what he's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
I had some
ADR
issue the first
unmatching, I was like,
The first 2 minutes, I had trouble understanding what he was until like my ears adjusted.
yeah.
It's hard to compare, like you said, to Del Toro, who's like, that's his thing. He's a
Right.
master of creating, and he hires the best people want to work with him.
Good luck trying to beat
The
it.
nice thing that they did about Ron Perlman is they gave him a small brow,
Yeah.
but they made sure you could see his eyes.
Yeah.
They made
the
him a lot
entire
more
time.
ape-like.
And they
He's
gave
already
him the,
got this face though for it too.
but they gave him the big teeth.
No
too.
disrespect.
Hey, it's a great face.
So does David Harbour. Someone did. There's a fan mock-up out there. I'll send out, and it's
Was it
That's a lot
Ironhead
better.
Studio?
no, but it looks great. They use a picture of David Harbour and they paint over it
Paint
of
over
how
it.
they
Oh,
would do
interesting.
Hellboy, and it looks like if they left his eyes, I think was the big thing for me is I couldn't see his eyes.
There was also something around his mouth
Yeah.
where, like,
Well, they had to add that chin.
they had to add the chin, but there was something like
It's almost like his lips weren't movable.
the color of the inside of his mouth sometimes didn't match like well enough, and
know.
that was another thing
They
that
hide
kind
that a
of
lot
bothered
with
me.
Ron Perlman's because they just give him like giant veneers.
Yeah,
The big thing
Right.
I noticed was his
which he
beard
has
being
in the
uneven
comics.
on
He's got big old.
the different sides of his face.
What happened?
His beard is uneven on the two sides of his face.
Which-
I mean, that could be a choice.
It could be a choice. An
guess.
obnoxious one,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
a choice.
he's
I
a
shave
little messy,
unevenly
yeah.
a lot.
and
but-
the other
yeah.
prosthetic that really bothered
For a
me,
$50 million movie, you'd think.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga.
Okay.
The face was great. The face was gross, and the contortion stuff was really cool and
But the
everything.
boobies.
The boobies, actually.
Well, to me, that's the one thing I was like, oh my god.
Well-
They don't move,
Right.
and it's like
Honestly, it would have been far more terrifying if they did.
So I thought about it, and there's a continuity error.
Okay.
Because like if she moved, you could tell that her shirt would come undone.
Well, it's a guy under there.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But the character, right? And
Yeah.
then the cut they make to it is that the dress is over her chest, and I'm like, that's fine.
Well-
You save me some old boobie. I'm cool
Yeah.
with it.
But
fine.
but like if they are
Do
gonna
me
be
the
like
service.
these boobs were really saggy because she's an old hag, whatever. When she does the back bend and starts fighting like that, they should be up under
Jumbling.
her chin and moving all of the time. That's like such a silly thing to be upset about, but they
But
should be
it's understandable,
everywhere.
yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
The way the fabric moves and everything was like cool and added to all of the movements and the peg
Some
legs and
Voldo
the
type shit.
all of that stuff. But to me, the extra like weird skin movement would have been actually terrifying to
Yeah.
me. But the moment she was like saggy, perky, while that was happening,
Well,
I was like,
cement.
we could probably put some swastikas
No,
on
no,
there.
Nice
no,
bags
no.
of sand.
Am
nice
I-
bags of
Ollie,
sand
what were you
that
gonna
never
say?
move.
I was gonna say, am I the only one who finds crab walking comedic?
I did too, actually.
I do, but it also scares me at the same time.
I feel
think-
like it's like I was thinking about this and I was like, I think it's like cilantro. You know how like half the people think cilantro tastes like soap,
and the others
because
are
it
like,
does
this
taste
is
like
really
soap
good.
because of their taste receptors.
Yeah.
It's not a preference thing, like it's actual like scientific. So I think this is like that where it's like I think it's scary because I've seen it in like trailers for other horror movies.
Well, I was gonna say,
But like
because I think I want to pull to Ryan Drummond episode where we talked about Exorcist.
I was just
You
going to
hadn't
bring that up.
wa-
That's the reason it scares me.
and like again, you're kind of saying like you never watched a lot of horror movies and all that stuff like that.
Right.
I think that's where it really came to be. But then people started using it to like make fun of Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes.
Yeah.
and that's why I find a
get that.
comedic sense to it too, because there's a lot of cutaways where it's like, "Hi, my name's Lindsay Lohan." It's like I get it, but it's like to me, crab walking the way if it's done really well, like with like limbs twisting around, like it's like really
like
good.
he did. He was able to keep his back feet and legs, like his knees pointed to the ceiling, but twist his front half around and crawl. And that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
because his two halves are different.
But to this point, I'll say this is not the scariest of all.
So it's like that feels like less efficient if you're trying to rush him with like knives.
Yeah.
Just run at him. I don't know.
I'll do mine. I'll jump in on mine. I just have a few.
We need the last one to go, so go ahead.
For me, as much as I liked his character, I feel like Daniel Day Kim's character wasn't necessary in this story. I think it would have been a much stronger story if they focused on the Emily and Hellboy bond.
Alice.
I know, every time.
Emily in Wonderland.
Yeah. Well, he's reading anyway. He's reading through the
Alice in
Looking Glass. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I just like it's really cool. Like a fucking were-jaguar is the coolest thing, and I think it would be a really strong character in the second film, who like he doesn't like Hellboy because of all the shit Hellboy caused, and he
As a
doesn't trust him.
consequence.
Yeah, not just right off the bat. I hate you because I'm a monster, but I hate you because you killed half of London. Even everyone says you're a good guy and you killed the witch.
Yeah.
I still don't trust you. And then he could have that arc throughout the second film without bloating this one because you're learning about 3 other people.
I will
Yeah,
say shout
I
out
see
for
that.
a sexy Asian man.
I love Daniel Day Kim
see
too.
him. I like
Yeah.
to see him, but
But
yeah,
I just
agree
think
with.
Putting us back on the map.
You're already doing Hellboy's origin story. You're doing Emily's Hellboy story. Alice's Hellboy story.
Name away.
And you're doing the BPRDs. You're doing Nimwe's origin story. You're doing Gargamel's origin story. It was just too many.
And like
Yeah.
he didn't really, unfortunately, he didn't really like save the day either.
He didn't do much.
He
in
like
this.
transformed and then he got immediately like
Right,
knocked
because
out.
they had to make room for Hellboy to save the way and for Alice to save the way.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like maybe we could have cut that out and spent more time on Nimue, more time on Alice, and
Broom.
more time on Broom and Hellboy.
Move some of that CG budget.
The makeup
to
was distracting to
other
me.
parts.
I think the big issue I had with the heart of the story is the relationship between Hellboy and his dad. When he died, I didn't really feel upset because most of the film they fight. The nice thing about, and I'm going to compare it because it's Hellboy, Del Toro's movie is that they really built that bond between Broom and Hellboy, and like he was still using him as a weapon.
R.I.P.
But he really thought he was doing the right thing, and he would teach him lessons and read him stories
Yeah.
and still raise him because he knew I have to make this guy good, otherwise the world ends. So when he does die in the Del Toro film, I remember being devastated, and that scene between Abe Sapien and Hellboy, like it's just for me, I didn't feel that when he died, and the CGI
They really butted heads a lot. So
yeah,
a
so
lot.
when he died, I still felt sad because of course it's his dad, but like most of the time they're
Well, you get that
arguing.
loving thing when he's dead, when it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you're like, well,
I wish I had that before he died. The CGI at that point bugged me, and same
Yeah.
with the other lady.
I did
Anytime
like
there's-
that power though.
I loved the power, but like you could have. What if they made the
cool
whole thing
power.
CG instead of green screening at the floating head? Marvel does it all the time with Iron Man. The head looks like it's doing this.
To quote Bonnie, it looked like early Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Like the ghosts and the
Yeah,
where
yeah,
you're
yeah.
like,
It was pretty distracting for this heartfelt scene. I kept going. He's in front of green screen. He's in front of green
yeah.
screen.
No, he's wearing a green screen.
The last thing I'll say is that I think the reason I like the Del Toro movies so well is that he builds a really well lived in world without having to put in exposition for everything. So my qualm to summarize it was I feel like this film spent too much time explaining why each character hated Hellboy as opposed to just explaining who they are through natural dialogue. Like what if with Baba Yaga, like I didn't need to know why she lost the eye, upset about it, that kind of thing. I didn't need the exposition beforehand. It could have happened within the scene of him being there. If he saw that, maybe he saw the kids and he's like, do I really have to take your other eye kind of thing? Like
Yeah.
Del Toro was really
yeah.
good about that. And I'm going to point to the second one where he
Yeah.
goes to the ferry market.
Goblin
Market.
Troll Market.
Yeah, sorry, Troll Market. And through the dialogue, you find out that like he's used to being here. Everyone kind of knows him. Like I don't know. I think
I want to
would
pull
have
from
liked.
the same movie, but the thing is more like when Jeffrey Tambor's character is like, we're going to get someone from Washington who's going to come in. And then it already immediately shows conflict between Krause and
Yeah.
Hellboy.
Yeah,
Because
right.
you know that Jeffrey Tambor likes him.
There was a lot of tell, not show.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes, that's the way to
and
do
I
it.
think that's part of why I wasn't afraid of Milla Jovovich's character.
Yeah.
So I was like, you told me in the first like 30 seconds of the dialogue of the movie that she's bad.
Which I thought was too quick, by the way.
And that was like it, really.
Which, what if the gory parts and all that, blah, 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 whatever happened, what if she was the cause of it? Then
Yeah.
yeah. Show like, oh, she's not.
That's
attractive.
different.
My
Yeah.
point to that qualm is that they could have taken out a lot of that, taken out Daniel Day Kim's character, and left room for more focus. Because I think it's a really cool concept to take the Arthurian story and turn it on its head.
Yeah.
Like, it's still the story of a destined king pulling a sword from the stone.
So
the only difference here is that his pulling the sword from the stone doesn't save the day; it ends the world.
I'm curious what you think of this. I went in not knowing that part of the storyline. Like, I didn't know that was part of the Hellboy lore. The Arthurian part. It's not? Okay.
His mom's a witch.
But
His
like,
mom's a witch and his dad's a demon. It's not even like Satan.
the comparative I'm going to draw here between the exposit show don't tell is like Constantine, the comics and the movie and the TV show do a really good job of him like calling on a cult, like demons and stuff, and they already have a relationship.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to call this one
Like
guy.
him
Like,
and
what if he
Gabriel.
summoned Baba Yaga? Because he had to ask. He knew what he had to do to summon Baba Yaga. Because he's established at this point. It's not his first day on the job. He's already been with the BPRD. He had a best friend that they'd go drinking with after missions. He knows what he's doing.
And he acted really scared when it was happening. Which
Yeah.
is weird.
well, and then really one thing that happened in Keanu Reeves' movie when he summons the devil, he just cuts his wrists. And you're like, what is he doing? Oh.
Yeah, so like that kind of, I wanted more of that, I
Well,
think.
and they do that really well in the first Hellboy movie. When he like opens up the fucking coffin and he says, "How about some from Saint Dionysius?"
Yeah.
and he necromances the fucking hangman back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so just,
Ivan.
I wanted more of the show, like live in the world,
That makes sense.
don't explain it to us, just
Don't
live in
sl-
it and let us follow along.
Don't slap me in the face
Yeah.
with the exposition.
I think that was the biggest thing.
It's very
Fewer
interesting
flashbacks.
because, like, I would say, like, I feel like a lot of it
Yeah.
is for like the visuals for the comic book fans, but then the way the story is written is for a lot of people who like apparently don't know anything about supernatural things at all.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like it's written very like explanatory.
So I mean, keeping in mind that, of course, reviewing a movie is hindsight's 2020 and making a movie is really hard. My fixes to what I think would have fixed the movie for me is cut a lot of the fat of exposition, focus more on the relationship between Hellboy and his dad and Hellboy and Alice.
Yep.
Focus more on the growth of Nimue. I mean, as much as I liked Gerger Schmagamel, I didn't need him.
What was his name?
It's what the fuck? I just had it. It's
Well-
Garugak.
Garugak.
I didn't need him either.
Yeah.
I didn't need his story on why every single mythical creature hates Hellboy.
Yeah.
I get that.
So if you cut those down, focus on the Arthurian, the dad, Alice, and Nimue, and that's it. I think it
Yeah.
could have been a more cohesive story.
I would have actually done no Nimue and only a Garugak story
Oh.
because it's a revenge story.
But
But I know we're just talking about different.
yeah, I just didn't like him.
Yeah, I like them.
I liked him too.
I liked Nimue way more.
Rating
Sure.
Yeah. So
Rate.
Ollie and I are last.
and Caitlin and Josh are first.
No,
No,
Josh
I
has
had- I
one,
have
so it's
one.
you and Caitlin.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay.
Reverse alphabetical.
Okay. So it's me first then. Mine's 3. Just 3.
Yeah.
Just 3.
Just a 3.
Caitlin,
Mine's a 3.8.
Okay.
Joshua,
3.5.
Ollie,
Should we write this down?
I'm gonna stick with my guns. So 1.9 in my book.
1.9.
Wow.
Mine is a 3.
I was right.
Yeah,
Caitlin.
I was right too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wasn't.
Ollie's the grump of the week.
Ollie
I had-
continues to have
Like I
my-
said, I have a list of grumps that I could spend equally as much time
Qualms?
on each.
Gripes?
Yeah.
DJ Grumps. His catchphase is just, I'm not wearing hockey
Oh
pads.
my god.
Exactly.
Oh, wait, that's my catchphrase.
But I won't get into. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of room for improvement. Ultimately, if there's a second one, will I see it? I think if they focus up the story and don't try to do too much and
Yeah.
focus on one storyline, and they bring Abe in, I'm in.
I'm gonna watch it no matter what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I just hope that.
it gets made.
Well, yeah, I just hope it gets made because I think stories need to continue to be made.
I hope so. I hope overseas helps them.
I think they
We'll
could cut
see.
a lot of the comedy, and I'd be a lot happier too. I didn't like the phone bit.
No, it was Oh, and his arm. He never uses his arm in a meaningful way.
Oh yeah.
Because
His big arm.
So I mean, in the comic books, in the Guillermo Del Toro movies, they made a really big fucking deal.
Because
Yeah.
the first time he broke his phone, I was like, that arm, okay. But then he breaks it with his other hand too, and I'm
Because
like,
he's just super strong, which
Yeah.
I liked.
Yeah,
I thought it
yeah.
was funny. But also the phone stuff, there was some bad, like, he's on the phone call and it says accept and decline, but he's on the phone call.
Yeah,
Anyways.
Well,
So?
no, you were just going to say about the comic books that they don't
The
make a
hand
big
is
deal
not
about
really
his
big deal.
hand.
Like,
Big
they
deal.
don't even know what it is and for a very long time.
it's
And-
just
okay.
strong.
just strong.
Well, no, it's like his dad like wanted to protect him, and then like scientists in hell or some shit, or other demons that found out about like him having a baby and all this stuff, chopped the hand off and put a rock hand on it. And like that's their big thing. He was never born with the rock hand, and like he was born like 1600s, not in like whatever.
Yeah, 1945.
Yeah, not in the fucking
Interesting.
World War II area.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's that. Ollie's the Grump.
Yep.
Ali is the Grump.
You
At
did it.
me.
At me.
Crown.
No.
Here's your flaming crown with the
Thorn crown. I don't want that.
Here's your Excalibur.
I'll take the thorn crown though.
Nice.
You really?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
That's a pretty
Milla.
solid crown.
I'll be your king.
Yeah. There you
Sing
go.
us out, Josh.
Yes, to everybody at home, thank you so much for listening. Why don't reach out to us and let us know how you felt about Hellboy. DM us. You can social media us.
He's breaking glass ceilings over there.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's
Fist
that's
through
what that
the DMs.
Yeah.
is. Wow, I don't even understand that.
Danny Rand, Iron Fister.
But yeah, reach out to us. You can. Another thing that is new with Nerd On.
Another thing that's new with Nerd On.
Iron Fister.
No, this is fun.
Iron Fister. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't ready for that.
Magic power from Cunning
I
Lone.
just wasn't.
Gunlun.
Magic power from Cunning Lone.
It just wasn't.
Wow. Okay. So, new thing with Nerd On. We are having a new show called the Nerd
Yes.
On Update.
Yep.
And you can send us questions.
Ready about Iron Fister.
Please don't.
Or anything else, really.
About
Anything else.
anything,
Anything else.
else but that, please. But you will send them to questions@nerdon.tv, or if you're in Patreon, you can comment on one of the many posts. You can send us questions on any form of social media.
Twitter,
Yeah,
You could fist into our DMs.
Insta. Do it.
please. Okay. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for subscribing to us. We love it. You can check us out at nerdon.tv. That is our website. All of the linky links are there, all of our social media.
It's got the goods.
It's got the goods. There's a newsletter you can sign up for. We have another show, Trope Time, that is hosted by our friends Nikki and Izzy. That is the first Monday of every month. But yeah.
Also, check out our Facebook. Give us a like because we'll do a Facebook Live event sometime soon.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Soon.
Be sure to stop by and rate and review and share with your friends and family. We really appreciate it. But again, thank you. That's the biggest thing that I'm trying to say through this whole spiel.
Yeah.
Thank you. But on that, you know the drill. As always, Nerd On!
Ending broadcast.